What is going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode. We are opening up another podcast, obviously talk about our favorite team. And of course, I'm joined by my good buddy here, Mythic AZ, man. What is going on? How you doing on this Wednesday?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How are you doing?
Can't complain, right? Wednesday, we got what, 4 more days until next game. Now, 3 more games for the season. We got the Bears, Eagles, and then obviously finishing up here with the Seattle Seahawks. But just real quick, just because we weren't able to kind of get a gauge on, were you able to watch Monday Night Football? Were you shocked?
I was, man. Drew Lock with a game-winning drive to Jackson Smith and Jigba in the rain. In the rain. Crazy game, man. I mean, Eagles, what is it, the last 3 that they've lost?
Yeah.
They're just piling on loss after loss after loss. After San Fran beat them, man, so they had the formula to beat Philadelphia and just make Jalen Hurts a passer. I mean, they've been completely different. They can't get it going. Just lost to the Seattle Seahawks, meaning our game is going to mean a lot.
It is. Oh, it is. Yeah, the last game for the Arizona Cardinals. Obviously, right now, I think it's still listed as TBD in terms of like the date too, right? I don't think we actually have a specific date, or maybe we have the date, but just not the time. Is that?
I think we don't have a time. I think they're trying to schedule it in because,
Yeah,
I mean, if it has playoff implications, they're going to play it. They're going to play it how, however, based off importance, they're going to play it and schedule it. So
true. You're right. Yeah. So it is January the 7th, but you're 100% correct. Yeah. The time hasn't been settled yet. And you are right, because of playoff implications, it's going to be pretty big here for obviously the Seahawks more than the Cardinals, but it would be kind of cool to play spoilers if that's the case here for the Arizona Cardinals. But let's dive into it, man. Let's talk about obviously the next big matchup here for the Arizona Cardinals. We got the Bears, which in the title, I say Tank Bowl. What do you think of the Bears so far? Now, we are going to get actually a special guest on Friday. Just FYI, we have a Bears fan coming on to give him his actual perspective on how he feels about his team, who he wants to draft. So you guys do want to check out Friday's stream. We'll be going more in deep about the Bears, but let's just talk, I guess, overview and how you feel about the Bears this year.
I mean, the Bears have, since trading for Montez Sweat, have been completely different than the Bears without Montez Sweat. I believe they're 3-2 in their last 5 with a win against Detroit as well. Minnesota, they could have beat the Browns last week. If you guys didn't see it, I mean, that's about as close as a Hail Mary as you're going to get. That is as close of a Hail Mary as you could possibly get. It gets batted down and falls in his lap, and he dropped it. They could have been 4-1, I believe. I have the clip right here. I'm going to go ahead and play it real quick if you guys haven't seen it.
Flushed, looking, sets up, throwing deep. Hail Mary, end zone, deflected, tipped, and intercepted.
That is about as close as you can get. And, I mean, I don't know. Chicago, I feel like they're piling on wins. I'm not the biggest Justin Fields believer. I mean, last game he had a touchdown, 2 interceptions, less than like 50% completion percent. So I'm not the biggest Justin Fields guy. That's just me personally. I don't think he is fantastic at reading defenses. But the run game is about as dynamic as you're going to get. It's about as dynamic as you're going to get. And the Arizona Cardinals need every single game from Carolina because Chicago gets that pick at number 1. So Carolina needs to continue to win. They won last week against the Falcons. It was a S show.
It was. Oh, it
9-7. But, I mean, we need them to win because Chicago owns that pick. So they can win as many games as they want because, as you guys see, they are the number 5 slot at 5-9. So Arizona, if they lose this game, is basically confirmed a top 4 pick.
So the Panthers have the Packers, the Jags, and then the Bucks to end their season. Do you see a win there for the Panthers? The Panthers.
That's not the most difficult stretch.
True.
But, man, it's tough.
True.
Because every team right there, as you guys see, Packers, Jaguars aren't even top 18.
Yeah.
Or, Packers are, sorry. They're 11. But Jaguars are not.
True. Yeah, we had the Jags. They're going into, or at least playoff. They're big playoff guys. The Bucks, on the other hand, we all know how the NFC South is. It's a S show, like you called it a little earlier. Yeah. somebody might go in with 7 wins. Like let's call it like it is. It's pretty bad of a division over there.
Yeah, I mean, Tampa and Jacksonville are both decent fighting for a playoff spot. So I mean, they're going to come on their A game. They're not going to let Carolina just come in here and try to shock them. So I don't know. I feel like those two are chalked as losses. But what was the other one? Packers,
Yeah,
Jaguars, and then Buccaneers.
Yep, the Bucks.
Maybe Green Bay. Green Bay's been so bad at stretches, but they're not a bad football team.
I agree with that. Yeah, I don't think they're a bad football team. I just don't know if, like, obviously Jordan Love is not, Aaron Rodgers, but I mean he's doing what his best of what he can do, I guess, right?
It's his first year.
Yeah, in terms of being a starter, yeah, for sure. Interesting.
It's tough, and then we just need Chicago, obviously. I don't know. Do you want to win? Do you want to win this?
So to me, I'm in the boat right now. If you would have asked me 5 weeks ago, I'd have been like, yeah, right. Of course I want to win. Yeah. But like, honestly, I'm dead inside right now. Mythic, I'm dead inside, y'all. Like seriously, it's to the point where, yeah, I'm going to be watching football every Sunday. Like that's just what I do. Right. Like I love watching Cardinals football because I want to see the elevation. I want to see the getting better of my team. So I'm going to watch it, even if it's just like clawing my eyes out. Like I'm still going to watch. But like, if we win, we win. If we don't, we don't. It's kind of got to that point now, and it sucks. It's unfortunate in terms of like as a fan, and claiming to be the a big Cardinals fan, and I am, right, and you are too. It's just it sucks to not have hope. Does that make sense? It's not that I don't want them to win. It's just I don't have hope for the Cardinals to win. And honestly, like it is what it is. I don't know, man. This roster is just so. Everything about this team is just so. I don't know, deflating. I guess the best way to describe it.
I feel you. There's not much optimism going into this. I'd prefer a loss, just competitiveness. Honestly, if we can keep this in within like 3 to 4, I'll be okay. I want to see points put up, though. I want to see like a 28-24. But I feel like the Cardinals do win this one. I don't know why. Something's telling me deep down that the Cardinals are going to win this one.
I mean, if we win, we win. That would be great. I mean, is this going to be a match probably where it's the less likeliest to win, because obviously it's the Bears. They only have 5 wins on the season, and I get it. Some people are like, "Oh, we're not as bad as our record or shows or blah blah blah." But that might be the best case scenario for the Cardinals to get a chance of getting a win. Because the Eagles, I don't know, like I don't know if it's going to happen. I get they're slipping, but I think per roster, like they have a really good roster. And then obviously the Seahawks are going to be fighting for their lives, their playoff lives. So we'll have to kind of wait and see how that shakes out. But let me get to my guy here, daily life stuff. He says, I know we're talking about the Cardinals, but how about them Wildcats? AZ college basketball is on fire. I hope everyone is doing great today. Do you watch U of A?
U of A is actually my favorite team in terms of college.
Oh.
So, I mean, they're hooping. They're hooping. I believe they're the 1 seed right now, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check. I don't keep as much tabs anymore, but let me go ahead and see.
Yeah.
That is my college team. I don't like college for the most part.
Right.
But
if you were to pick one, that would be
if I were to pick one, that is definitely my team. Yeah, they're 8-1, 4 seed right now. I mean,
I don't have the biggest input on this. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't have the biggest input. I am by association ASU because of my wife. So I'm by association. I can't even say U of A here or I'll probably get stabbed. So I'm going to leave it at that. To me, it's kind of one of those things where it's just, it is what it is. They're an Arizona team, obviously, but I know there's like this big thing between U of A and ASU. So I'm just going to leave it at that.
You got to take team wife over here.
You got to. But yeah, let's continue to talk about Cardinals versus Bears here. What do you see this game? I guess not so much like, how do you see this game turn out, right? Obviously, we have Justin Fields looking a little better. There's a lot of questions out there. Will the Bears move on of Fields because they're sitting at the number 1 overall spot because of the Panthers pick? Do you think right now, and I've asked you this multiple times, but I'm going to ask you again because it's a different week, where the Bears are standing at right now on this Wednesday, do you think the Bears will move off of Justin Fields, or do you think they'll trade back to a quarterback needy team?
I think it makes sense to just build around Justin Fields. I'm not really Caleb Williams believer, so I feel like you're just going to backtrack. and you'd rather have someone established there and just continue to build, even though I'm not like fully high on Justin Fields. It's the right thing to do. You have 2 top first-round picks. This is kind of the year to see what you got. I don't know who you can get on the offensive line. I don't know who the Bears necessarily need, but you go get an offensive lineman with your pick, and then you go get Marvin Harrison. And then you just build around. And I hate it.
I know you do.
Hate it. Because then I'm like looking from like an outsider perspective, and I'm like, it just makes so much sense. I'm just praying something changes and like Justin Fields is like not the guy. And they just move off of him, but I just can't see it.
I mean, with the clip that you showed, honestly, like the Chicago Bears weren't in that game. Like they were in that game. And it's, it's something to be said about, what they did against the because who did they just play? They just played the Browns.
Cleveland.
The Browns are the best defense out. Do you remember what the Browns did to us?
Yeah, they clapped us.
Now, granted, Kyler wasn't there. It was Clayton Tune. And I'm not putting this all on Clayton Tune, but it was a very bad game plan. It was destruction, just destruction city everywhere. Kyler wasn't playing, and we're all fully aware of that. But like Cleveland destroyed us. They bent us over a barrel. So to see the Bears hang with them like that, an almost a winnable game for them, it kind of puts a different perspective for me as a Cardinal fan, coming into this game. Let me ask you this real quick. I know you did say that you do not want, well, I guess it's not that you don't want to win, but you rather, obviously the draft pick. What if the Cardinals lose, but get beat down and not be competitive? What are your thoughts? Are you just like, hey, it's another game. Let's look into the Eagles, or what are your thoughts on that point in terms of like the Cardinals team, not specific person, but the team in general? Are you happy about the progression of the Cardinals?
Honestly, I'm at the point where I just want the season to end. Like, there's 3 games left, and I'm like, it just sucks knowing these are meaningless games to you, and you're just kind of coasting. And like a win would hurt you more than it would help you. But it's like, oh yeah, we won, cool. But like if we go 3-0, unless we go 3-0, even if we do go 3-0, people are still gonna talk and say we're not good, and like the roster needs to get gutted. Kyler needs to get traded. We need to get rid of everybody. The coaching staff sucks. Like people are still gonna talk even if we go 3-0. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you'd rather have the better pick at the end of the day and just potentially get Marvin Harrison Jr., the guy that I feel like a lot of Cardinals fans are pretty consensus on. That's kind of the guy they want. I mean, there is better people later in the draft as well that we can get, but I think Marvin Harrison is still the guy, and it helps probably the most. But regardless, people are going to say we're terrible. So it's like, do you really want to stretch off and go 3 wins? Not necessarily. I wouldn't say so. It's nice from like a culture standpoint, but then after those 3 games are over and that high goes away, I mean, it sucks. You're like, dang, now we picked 8. Don't want that. So I'd like to go 0-3, genuinely, in this last little stretch. That's me personally. I was team win until we were like 2-9, and then I was like, yeah,
And then stuff hit the fan, huh?
Yeah, 2-8, 1-8. I was like 1-8. Yeah, pack it up.
Right? No, I mean it's. I see where people are coming from. I get both sides of the coin, truly, right? And I'm not going to sit here and say, you're a bad Cardinal fan for thinking otherwise. I get it, man. This season is just as bad as it gets. It's, to me, like, I still kind of want to be competitive. I don't think the Arizona Cardinals are going 3-0. I'm not that foolish. Like, I don't think that and I'm not going to make myself believe that the Cardinals are going to go 3-0. Like, it's crazy. And I don't care about the draft pick to the point that I know a lot of people do care about it, but like, it's just not going to happen. We have a tough stretch coming our way. The Bears, which who would have said that? The Bears is a tough stretch, but yeah, the Bears, the Eagles, and then we got the Seahawks to end the stream to end the season. So we'll have to kind of wait and see how that shakes out. But we got somebody on the chat says tank for Marvin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So in pretty much what he's saying is obviously go 0-3 at the end of the day. But
you have
to me, I still think it's important to obviously fight and to be competitive. Do you think the 49ers game was competitive, or do you think of it as, and I know we kind of talked about it on last podcast, but I didn't get a chance to really ask you this question. Do you see this game against the 49ers and say, oh, we scored 21 points. It's better than what the Eagles and the Cowboys did? Or how do you feel about the 21 points that was scored on the Cardinals? Or I'm sorry, scored on the 49ers.
We scored 29. It's not like, I don't know. I look at it like genuinely, like the play that Kyler threw that ball to Chardavius Ward and it came late was super game changing. It kind of felt Josh Dobbs Cincinnati like. in terms of like just the game shifting.
Shift, yeah.
But at the same point, in same time, the Cardinals had every opportunity, right? At halftime, we were down, I believe, 6 points. And the Cardinals just couldn't get a stop to save their life. They allowed 24 points in the second half. You can't win football games allowing 24 points in the second half and 21 in the first half.
Yeah.
That is a recipe of disaster. You can't stop the run. You can't stop one dude in particular. And then on top of that, actually, you can't stop two people. Brock Purdy was dicing. And then Christian McCaffrey, just 7 touchdowns on the season against us. It just speaks volumes. Like, you hear 7 touchdowns in 2 games, and that's just enough said. Like, you're not really winning those games right there. So I don't know. I feel like the Cardinals were competitive. Genuinely, I do. For what we have, there's a lot of holes in this team, a lot of things that need to be built. But I feel like it was pretty competitive.
Okay, let me get you these 2 contributions here. We got my guy Deus, of course. Yeah, he has that the T15. That stands for Clayton Toon if you're new to the channel. So T15, 1 game sample judgments are casuals. Remember Elway, horrendous rookie season. Now he's a Hall of Famer. T15 was robbed by Dobbs, Mythic. I don't know. Is that a heart? I don't know what that is. K1. I don't know what that is.
It's not even that I love K1.
Oh, is that a heart? Okay, that's a heart.
I don't know. I'm assuming, but I don't even like love K1. It's just like from a football standpoint, I am a fan of K1, obviously. Like Kyler, I'm not gonna like shy away and be like, yeah, I hate Kyler Murray. Like, I don't hate Kyler Murray. I want Kyler Murray to be successful, but like just in terms of talent, it's Kyler QB1. I do agree though. I wanted to see Clayton Tune for like 3 games. I'd rather see Clayton Tune for 3 games than getting thrown into the fire against that Cleveland team and then just benched.
Got demolished.
Confidence killer. Like, hey, go play the best defense in the league and good luck.
Yeah.
Like, I would have rather seen them 2 games before that and then played that Cleveland game as well, but just have that 2-game experience to kind of just settle in a little bit. He did get robbed of a nice little 3 games because how many times are you going to see what your backup quarterback has? If you're not going to move forward with Josh Dobbs, which was made very apparent, right? See what he has.
True.
Right?
Yeah. That whole situation was really weird too. Like
it was
telling him, "Oh, you're not going anywhere," gets traded the next day. It's just super, super weird. Let me get to daily stuff again. Thanks again, everybody, so much for the contributions. Definitely does mean the world. He says, "Tank for Marvin, but keep every game competitive." Okay, well let's segue because you do have a point, right? The 49ers are the 49ers. I look at that game versus the 49ers. I personally don't think competitiveness. I don't think it was competitive personally, but obviously apples to oranges, opinions are opinions. The Bears, if the Cardinals lose the same way to the Bears, and I mean like 2 scores, 3 scores, offense doesn't look good, with the exception of the first drive, because I don't know why we're so good in the first drive and then we just kind of fall apart. What would be your opinion on the Arizona Cardinals organization if we can't be competitive against the Bears? What would be your, and I'm not saying Kyler Murray, you don't have to make a judgment. I'm talking about the Cardinals in general.
That's tough because we want them to lose, but like, I don't know. It's the end of the season. So if like that competitive spirit's gone, I kind of understand it at this point. You're 3-11. So I kind of understand it, but at the same time, I don't know. This team just doesn't seem like they want to lay down, like regardless. I mean, we got to win 2 games ago and they seem very excited. So I don't think they're going to come out here and just lay down like that for Chicago. Yeah. So I don't know. If we just become lifeless in these last 3 games, then I'm going to be very shocked personally. So I just can't see that happening. I feel like we're going to be competitive in at least 2 of them. Depending, I don't know. I feel like the Cardinals are going to be one of those teams that want to knock Seattle out of the playoffs like we did with Minnesota like 10, 15 years ago.
Right.
Just stunned them on that last second play in the back of the right end zone. I don't know. I feel like the Cardinals are coming in here to win games regardless. I feel like that's the direction we want to go.
I agree. I mean, we're hearing, and here's the thing. I think the Arizona Cardinals, never have I ever said this year, get rid of Gannon. Never, ever.
Yeah.
I like what he's doing. I think that the best thing that we have going for us this year, and the one thing that's different from the 3, like, let's say, for example, the Arizona Cardinals only end up with 3 wins, right? And then obviously we're going to have people comparing the Steve Wilkes era to the Jonathan Gannon era. I think the big difference between the 2 eras, and obviously we still got 3 more weeks to kind of really make a decision here. And obviously the Cardinals, and I don't think they're going to move on regardless, but like, I still think that there's big key focal pieces on this roster / clubhouse, locker room, whatever you want to call it. Like, they still have those big voices preaching what JG is preaching, right? And that is trying to build a culture, regardless if, you bring a knife to the gunfight, right? You still have the competitive fighting spirit, right? You still have a belief that this is going to be the coach for you guys. And I think Michael Bidwell is listening to that type of stuff, right? I think Monty Ossenfort, although came with JG together, I think they have a closer bond than most people think. I don't think he's just going to let him go. But like, I think that does speak volumes when you hear DJ Humphries come out and say, oh, we expected to shock the world. Now, realistically, when we're listening, we're like, bro, like, seriously, do you really expect it to shock the world? Because nobody else thought that, but apparently you guys in the clubhouse, which is cool. But
Right.
it's a good mentality to have for them in the grand scheme of things, right? And I think that JG's job is safe. Now, granted, if we completely get blown out these next 3 games, and I mean like our offense doesn't look good, then there might be some, conversations to be had. But I think right now he's fine. And I think the biggest reason is because we have those big leaders speaking highly of Jonathan Gannon. Do you agree with that, I guess, sentiment?
I feel like even if we go 0-3, there's no chance. No chance he gets fired.
If JG gets fired. Okay, gotcha.
No chance. It's year 1. Year 2, you can make an evaluation all you want, but year 1, it's just, you kind of understand what's going on. I feel like a lot of people, I don't know. It's so tough because it feels like people expect this team to win. And they don't really understand what happened this season in terms of gutting it completely and stripping it down. And they're building a team their way. It's not like Madden where you can just go out and trade for a bunch of people and trade all your draft capital. It takes time. I wish it didn't. I wish we were good now. Don't get me wrong. I wish we were talented now and just had all this assets and all these people. But our offensive line, 3 or 4 of these people aren't going to be here 2 years. Receivers, probably the same thing. We'll probably have Michael Wilson, potentially Hollywood Brown. It's probably about it in 2 years. And then you flip it to defense, and how many people that are starting today are going to be starting again? 4?
Yeah, and see, here's the thing too. Kind of to backtrack on your thing, and I see where I guess this is the frustrating part in terms of a Cardinals fan, because we've seen organizations trade away a franchise quarterback and still be competitive. And yes, I'm talking about the Seattle Seahawks, right? When we're you're in a rebuild, you're stripped that you shouldn't be winning. And the same thing with the Texans. I don't blame Cardinal fans for not wanting to win every year, right? Regardless of what it is, right? Because I truly believe if you have the right people in the roster, you can still be better than a 3-win team. Here's the thing, I'm still seeing the same things over and over again. I'm still seeing our offense not looking great. So I get where that comes from, but it kind of irritates me too, to a point in terms of being a Cardinal fan, because we see it along the league. It's not it's foreign to think that because we went through a GM change and a coach change that we can't be competitive. When BA came in, now granted, yes, different players were in this roster, and I'm completely aware of that. But this man was automatically a winning coach when he came in. And same, Cliff Kingsbury had 5 wins for Pete's sake when he had his first year too. So I hate the narrative, because literally some of these games could have been won for the Cardinals. If 2 or 3 or 4 different plays turned our way, we could have been a competitive team this year, in my humble opinion. So I just hate that take. It just irritates me, because if Cardinals fans, I feel like if they want to believe that we should be able to win, we should. It's just they didn't put Monty Ossenfort's hands were strapped. I'm not blaming this on Monty. I'm blaming this on Michael Bidwell. Michael Bidwell chose this route. He was like, "Oh no, man, we're going to take this as a mulligan year because
right.
I did this, and that, and I made this mistake, right?" I don't know. All this kind of goes back to Michael Bidwell, and I really do dislike him being our owner, because I feel like we're on the same pickle every 5 years and rebuilding for 5 years. But I apologize.
Same cycle. It's a competitiveness for 1 or 2 years, and then it's a nice little 5-year rebuild. And that's how it is. And then you go ahead and sign a bunch of veterans, and you have that young talent sprinkled within, and the old talent comes, and it's a retirement home. But we play competitive football here and there, and it's hey, that's fun. We had Rodney Hudson, we had all these people, and it's where are they now? Rodney Hudson played 1 season with us.
Yeah.
And was banged up half of it.
And that's the problem too. I feel like our fan base needs to have an expectation. I feel like our fan base needs to be more attentive of what's going on. Now I get it, right? Our roster isn't a good roster, and I'm fully aware of that, but it almost kind of feels like a lot of the fan base turns it off and they're like, we suck. I'm done. I'm not even going to talk about it. It is what it is, right? Blah, blah, blah. It's out of my hands. Let them deal with it. But like, I feel like it is important because we just saw something on Twitter here not too long ago where like fans' voices right now are the loudest I think we've ever heard it. Like in modern day NFL, like some guy that, so one of the fans of the Philadelphia Eagles fan, his name is Lord Brunson. He ended up putting a video on AJ Brown and AJ Brown responded. And then that same video made it to Undisputed. Like it's just those little steps like are the things that like make people accountable. Now, granted, do I feel like Philadelphia Eagle fans are a little too much? Yes, I do. 100% too much. But like, I don't know, man. I just feel like the Cardinal fans need to band together and like really set some sort of expectation. But like, we're just so used to this abusive relationship. That's what it is. We're used to this abusive relationship every 5 years. And it sucks, man. It really does. And it's not your fault. It's not the people in the chats. That's not my fault. It all starts from the top. And it's unfortunate, man.
Yeah, it's hard to have expectations when the expectation is bad. Like it's hard to have good expectations and positive aspirations if the expectation is always bad every single year.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. It sucks. But I'm sorry. I didn't mean to rant right there. But what go back to what you're saying.
Man, I don't know. It's just tough. The Cardinals need to build in a positive direction. And after stripping the roster, I feel like next year is going to be a very positive step for us. Regardless, I trust Monty Austin-Fort in terms of drafting, which is something unlike Steve Kine that I'm very confident in sitting back and saying, we have 7 picks within the top 3 rounds. I don't want to trade it.
Right.
I'm confident that Monty Austin-Fort is going to hit on 5 of these players or 4 of these players, and they're going to be impactful at the very minimum, 4 or 5 players. So I'm excited. Like, I genuinely am so excited for the draft, which I haven't said in years. The past like 5 seasons, 6 seasons, I'm like, I don't even know, man. And then I tried to buy into Josh Rosen as much as I could, like fake optimism, fake like, oh, it's okay. This is a good pick. Yeah, Josh Rosen, cool. We're going to build around this guy. And then you watch him play and it's like, oh my God, like this is what I expected, but it's okay. He's going to be better. And then he's not better. And we traded out. And I'm like, okay, that's crazy. That's like, was it the first or second time that quarterbacks have been taken back to back? Was it the first time that quarterbacks have been taken back to back?
Might have been at least the top 10, right? Because Rosen was 10, right? When we traded up to 10.
I think that's what it was. I think that was the stat. So it was just insane to see. And it's like, we finally, in my opinion, at least have an established quarterback. You have an established safety core. You have a great running back for however many years James Conner is able to keep it going. But James Conner's fantastic. And then you have Trey McBride. You have solid pieces to build around. And then obviously there's like people to sprinkle in, like Dante Stills, I feel like is either going to be a really good, I don't know about Dante Stills. I feel like he's been really solid, but I don't know if he's ever going to be a starter. Maybe a second-tier defensive lineman. Yeah. Garrett Williams, I don't know if he'll ever be a starter. Maybe a slot corner. Seems to be where he's fitting in. The BJ Ojolari, I have high hopes for. Hopefully he turns out to be a solid edge rusher for us. Maybe pair him along someone in this draft. I mean, people are saying Chop from Penn State, I believe is his name. Yeah, people are linking him to Arizona as well, so maybe that's the direction they go. There's offensive linemen like we need to build. Paris Johnson's another guy for us. Like we have a little bit of like foundation. Not a ton, but we have a little bit of foundation in this next year's draft. I feel like is going to be very, very, very crucial. Because the top 3 rounds, you're able to do a lot and make a lot of noise. There's a lot of talent going to be in round 3. So the Cardinals have a chance to like legitimately build this thing out.
Well, so that and the money we're going to have too in the free agency.
We can build that line.
Yeah.
Either way. Or we can go build that secondary. And then we have Kaiser White coming back from a torn bicep. So that's another player that's going to be very impactful for us. So I feel like next year has a chance to kind of be like Detroit. Get some culture players in here that fit what Monty and Jonathan Gannon have after kind of just like establishing a culture a little bit. I feel like people do respect us. Like the 49ers came out here after game 1 and noted that like they're actually building something in the right direction. And Nick Bosa isn't someone to shy away, right? When he was talking about Kyler Murray, it was a lot of positive. And shout out to Jesse from Last Second Sports, because I didn't even know this. Nick Bosa was talking very highly of Kyler Murray. Like, yeah, I mean, he just respects him, right? Like, respects him as a passer, as a runner. He knows that Kyler Murray's dangerous, but when it comes to Jalen Hurts, he's like, he's not holding back. He's like, yeah, make him a passer. Jalen Hurts isn't as good as it's made out to be, and we're going to kind of come in here and show you guys that, like, we have a game plan. They executed that, like, perfectly. Like, they came out and talked crap about Jalen Hurts, and it worked.
Yeah.
You didn't see him talk about like that with Kyler Murray. You're not going to hear him talk about that with Lamar Jackson upcoming. Like, there's just certain players that are respected, at least in terms of the NFL. I feel like Kyler is one of those guys, or at least within the NFL, within our fan base, it's something else. I don't know if you feel that same way, but it feels like a lot of NFL players love Kyler Murray and would love to play for Kyler Murray. It's just people in our fan base are very split.
Yeah. I don't know. It's tough. It's to me, like, I think it is important to listen to the players because obviously they're playing. And when people are like, "Oh yeah, ball, right?" But I don't know. I only take it with a grain of salt personally, because at the end of the day, a lot of these guys know each other personally, whether they're friends on the outside or they played with each other or they came over in the draft, or they had some moments of talking back and forth. So, like, I don't know. It's so hard for me to come out here and believe, I don't know, that I do agree Kyler's better than Jalen Hurts in terms of passing. I do agree with that in terms of accuracy. I do agree with that because we've seen it already. I think Jalen Hurts is now starting to kind of get exposed for kind of what he is. But like, I don't think he's a bad quarterback, but I just don't think he's that accurate. But
I don't think he's as great as that Eagles team is.
Exactly.
I feel like a lot of his flaws are hidden within
from
that
what they do. Yeah, for sure. No, I agree with that. 100% agree with that. But like the whole Kyler Murray thing, if we build this, if we keep Kyler, if we stay with the 3rd overall, I think the Cardinals are going to stay with Kyler. I think they're going to stay with Kyler, and that's fine with me. It's just, to me, my expectation isn't, oh, let's just keep it. My expectation is you better do something. You better do something with that, because there's no reason for us to have $50+ million and this much, and then Kyler Murray being your franchise quarterback for what, the 6th or 7th year. There's no reason for us to not make a noise. So obviously we'll dive into that later, different podcast from there. But like, to me, my mind is not step. My mind is, you better take that next freaking leap, because if you're staying one more year and Jonathan Gannon believes in you, cool, awesome. Let's roll and let's see what happens. But at the end of the day, if you're not sniffing playoffs, you shouldn't be our quarterback.
It just depends how it gets built. That's the thing. It really depends. Like, it's hard to make a judgment right now because we really don't know the direction they're going to go. Like, we don't know what the Cardinals are going to do, right? We don't know how they're going to draft. We don't even know where we're going to fall, if Marvin Harrison's going to be available. I mean, there's stupid people out there being like, Marvin Harrison's going to fall out of the top 10.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Insane. Like, if he drops past 5, I'm going to be shocked.
Yeah.
Because he's linked to Arizona. He's linked to Chicago. He's linked to, like, every team that needs a receiver. That's the guy.
Right.
Who's the guy from LSU? Neighbors?
Malik Neighbors. Yep.
Malik Neighbors. I don't know. I need to look more into him, but I don't know if I believe as much. Apparently he has better stats than Justin Jefferson and everybody, but I gotta like deep dive.
Yeah, he's smaller. He's like 6 foot. So like, yeah. I have heard of him. A lot of people really, really like him. I like the idea of him. It's just, we've talked about this multiple times. I'm done. I'm done. I want the big body. Now, 6 foot, there's nothing to sneeze at. That's tall. I'm not gonna. That's tall. I'm just saying, like, 6'3". Give me 6'2", 6'3". And I get 2-3 inches. I understand, but like, that's what I'm looking for. I want that big contested dude that has no excuse to not go up there and get that ball. That's what I'm looking for. At the end of the day, but in terms of like, but that's the thing too. Like, do you think the Arizona Cardinals will not put Kyler Murray in his spot to succeed next year? Because wouldn't you think the Arizona Cardinals would want to win in terms of like building this out right? Not right. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase the question. Wouldn't you think that the Arizona Cardinals would want to put Kyler Murray in a position to win? Because this is what, it's going to be a 6th year. This is his 5th year, right?
This is his 5th, I believe.
Right, 5th year, so he's going to go into his 6th year. Wouldn't you think the Arizona Cardinals would want to do that? In terms of like, obviously, don't pay stupid, like, don't make dumb decisions. You got to be smart with what you do, obviously. But like, wouldn't you think the Cardinals want to, especially you got all the cap and then all the draft capital we got?
I feel like they're definitely going to go out and make plays and definitely build the roster out, but I don't feel like they're going to come out here and make stupid signings. We're not going to go ahead and blow all of our money and drop like a 4-year, $64 million contract on an offensive lineman who's like 30 years old. I feel like if there's like a 27, 28-year-old out there where we genuinely have a chance, we're going to go ahead and we're definitely going to spend money. I definitely think we're going to spend money and build this thing out. And you have the draft capital to do it as well to build. So I feel like we're definitely going to build in a positive direction. And if we can sniff somewhere from like 6 to 8 wins, I think is going to be very realistic.
I want
just somewhere between there, right? Like I definitely feel like this roster is going to get built out. It's just tough to evaluate it because we're so far out from evaluating that season. We don't even know who's going to be on the roster. Like, it's tough, but I definitely feel like we will be competitive somewhere in that like 6 to 8 range, and we're definitely going to have
as long as we're
competitive games.
As long as we're competitive is what I'm looking for. In terms of, you know, a team, 8 wins would be freaking huge in the NFC, especially if this trend continues of being absolutely dog water NFC. Because even if you look at the quarterbacks along the NFC, there's nobody out there that's really pushing the needle for me. Obviously Jordan Love's doing anything he can, right? I don't think he's dog water, but I also don't think he's elite, obviously, right? Or even a great quarterback. I think he's a good quarterback. He's working with what he has. But like anybody else, like Drew Lock, good for him. But Purdy, who else? So Purdy's probably up there because obviously his team is very, very good. What other quarterbacks in the NFC is really kind of shining to you? Didn't we have this graphic up here?
We did.
Oh, no.
So Dak Prescott's playing pretty well.
Yeah, that's right. How did I forget? Yeah, Dak Prescott.
He fell off last week, but it's one game. I mean, I'm not the biggest Dak guy, but you can't really judge him off one game. Yeah. Jalen Hurts is up there.
He's still going to be up there. 100% agree.
Jared Goff is up there.
Okay, I can agree with that.
And then Brock Purdy.
Yeah, so 4, no?
Matthew Stafford's also solid, but
I guess if you want to throw 5 in there, yeah, that's fine.
Matthew Stafford's always going to Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford's playing pretty well in my eyes.
But yeah, I mean, the Washington football team, they're probably going to go through maybe a quarterback, maybe somehow it might not be. Baker Mayfield, I'm not sure if it's going to be the long-term answer, but he's got some good weapons over there. Geno Smith and then Drew Lock. Not a big fan of Brock Purdy, we know. Let's keep it going. Kirk Cousins, I guess we can kind of put him up
Cousins
there.
And Baker are definitely up there for this season. I mean, the NFC definitely has some solid quarterbacks.
Now looking at it, but I do think that the Cardinals can build this out right. If everybody says that Kyler is what in their eyes are, there's absolutely no reason for us to take a huge step next year.
There's definitely more talent in the AFC for sure.
That's 100%.
I mean, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Tua. You can just go on and on. Where's that graphic?
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
These people slipped in my head. Hold on. I mean, if you want to say Deshaun Watson's having a horrid season, but I mean, he's still has a potential, but not this year. I mean, Pat Mahomes, easy. Joe Burrow, easy. Trevor Lawrence, people are hit or miss, but I mean, he's out there and they're playing pretty decent football. The man is painkillered up all the way playing football right now. CJ Stroud is out there. Josh Allen, Tua, Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert, Aaron Rodgers next season. Like the talent is definitely in the AFC.
Oh, 100%.
In terms of whatever. So that's why I think the Cardinals can actually be competitive next year. That's kind of what drives me a little bit because you're going to have the top teams, obviously Detroit, San Francisco, Dallas, like these like top teams. And if Detroit falls off or not, we'll see next year. But I mean, they're out there. Vikings, I guess, are out there potentially to make a comeback if Kirk Cousins does come back and play healthy football. Tampa Bay, if they keep it up, maybe the Rams. Like the Cardinals have no excuse not to be in the hunt.
Thank you.
In the hunt.
For saying that.
In the hunt. Even if it's going to be 7 wins, there's no way we shouldn't be in the hunt.
Yeah.
With how the NFC's shaking out this year, there's no team that's doing it for me. There's no team that's shaking it.
I agree.
So the Cardinals need to be in at least the hunt.
Well, that's the thing too. I wouldn't be saying this if we didn't have the money and if we didn't have all the draft capital. Like I wouldn't be saying this, but yeah, we do. You know, it worked out for us, so I hope it does work out the way that we're saying here. Now we're gonna open up the phone lines. I think we didn't get a chance to do this on Monday, but we're gonna open up the phone lines. Are you ready to open up the phone lines here? If you've ever been in the chat, can do me a huge favor, put some popcorn emojis here in the comments below. We love the opening up the phone lines. We want to hear from you guys. I think the bottom line is obviously we're all Cardinal fans. We all want succession, I guess that's that word. We want them to succeed at the end of the day. We want them to win, right? Regardless if you agree with this, you think that, you think this, you think that. We're all Cardinal fans. We all want to win at the bottom line. So I'm going to be posting a link here in the chat below. Super simple. If this is your first time here, all you need to do is click on that link. Come on in, jump on through, and let us know how you feel about the 2023 Arizona Cardinals or the future. Let's just chop it up. We got 20 minutes on this podcast to kind of shoot the SHIT. And then we'll see how it goes. Let me go to my guy Michael Evans with a $2 dono. Let me give it to you guys real quick. We got like 9 donations today. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so very much.
Absolutely.
He says anything less than playoffs is BS. Appreciate you. Thanks.
I agree. And then there's a couple donations that we didn't get to. He says, give
you.
Tyler next year to win after the draft and free agency. Personally, I agree with that. Obviously, not everyone's full on board, because Andrew says, let's pull a Texans, trade up Marvin Harrison Jr. and Drake May. So, I mean, it's all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is everywhere in terms of what people want to do. And do you think this is possible? Do you think it's something the Cardinals would even consider?
We have the draft capital. If we're willing to get off a pick, if we're willing to get off a pick next year, 2025, yes, it is possible. I do think it is possible. But the problem is that we're sitting at the number 3 overall spots. So I don't think it's possible in that standpoint, because you can get Marvin Harrison Jr. if there's 2 quarterbacks. The problem that we're dealing with right now is that we're not in prime position to get a quarterback. So you need to trade up, but then you'll lose draft capital to try. So like it's wild, man.
It's a sticky situation.
It is a very sticky situation. All right, let's open up the phone lines. Let's go with daily life stuff, and then we'll go with Deus right after that. So daily life stuff, you're live on the Big Red Pod here on YouTube. Talk to me. How are you feeling about the Cardinals?
Quite honestly, I don't like our defense. I think our defense is something we got to build in the draft and free agency. I think our biggest weakness is our receiver core too. I like Trey McBride. Trey McBride is our guy. He's our guy to come. He's the next time. I've been telling people ever since he was drafted, he's the next tight end in the league. He's going to be the next Mark Andrew, Dawson Knox. So I believe we stick with him. But Kyler Murray, I can't blame Kyler Murray for this year. I can't blame him for the shitty receiving core we have. I feel like we draft Marvin Harrison and we pick up Michael Pittman, or maybe we pick up T. Higgins from free agency. That'd be awesome.
Yes, I agree.
I think we drop Hollywood Brown for more cap space. I don't believe in him anymore. I just don't think he's going to have a lot of impact for our team. That just gives us more cap space to completely build our defense. I'm envisioning a squad to where we have T. Higgins and we have Marvin Harrison, and then we have Michael Wilson as a 3, Greg Dortch as a 4, Trey McBride, and we just completely build our defense. Worst case scenario, we ride with Kyler Murray and he does bad next year. At least we have a team that's at least halfway decent or better than this year, to where we can draft a quarterback in the following draft. Then there's no more excuses for Kyler Murray. So I'm on the Kyler Murray for one more year, but if he doesn't do well next year after we draft and go free agency, I think we let him go next year.
Yeah, or at least figure something out, right? At least figure something out. All right, appreciate you, daily stuff. Thank you so very much for coming through. Great call.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's the nature that we're dealing with right now in terms of like, people want to start winning already. And if you have a franchise quarterback, people expect to win at the end of the day. So where we're sitting at 3 right now, I know we had a conversation, a friendly debate on Monday's podcast. If we were like the first overall, it would be different. But because we're sitting at 3, and if the Cardinals aren't moving up, I'm cool with taking Marvin Harrison Jr. at the end of the day. But let's go with Deus. Deus, you were live on the AZ Sports Fan here on you are live on the Big Red Pod here on YouTube. Talk to me. How are you feeling about the Cardinals?
I can't say anything nice right now about how I feel about the Cardinals right now.
Let it out.
Let it out, man. Let it out.
I just got there's so many things that happened, and it's pretty much all bad, I haven't seen one good thing come out of all this. I mean, I knew we were off to a really bad start when, most people, when they start out their season with the down and out starter, they usually play their backup no matter what. They don't go and draft, or they don't go and trade for another quarterback or journeyman quarterback. They just see what they have from their draft. And I think that Toon got really robbed in that regard. He had he had a chance to do at least, what was it, 8 games. I mean, I just think he's getting a lot of flack for that game against the Browns, but not too many quarterbacks would have done that good either. Starting quarterbacks, they wouldn't have had that much success either. So I think it's just really unfortunate and not a very good sample size for him, and it's not a fair assessment of his skills and abilities off of that one game. And a lot of people just, oh, look at what he did with the Browns, nothing, Toon sucks. And it's like, yeah, well, not very many quarterbacks, not even a rookie quarterback, would have done any better, really. And as far as what we need to do, I just think that if we can get MHJ, we should. That's definitely a given.
Yeah.
But I just think that K1's not it, and we just need to move on. It's been already 5 years, and most quarterbacks you can tell within a year or two whether they're a bust or not. And I think he was just fool's gold for that first year or two, kind of like how RG3 was with Washington. He was phenomenal, putting up 45 points against the Saints, and rookie of the year or whatever it was back then too. And then he got hurt. But I mean, it only takes the NFL defensive coordinators only like a season to figure everything out on a quarterback, except for now, I think it's even less. It's like I heard somewhere along the lines of 4 or 5 games that, and if NFL coordinators can figure out a QB in 4 game sample size, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just think that the league is ever evolving and ever changing, and I think right now there's so many young coaches out there that are familiar and used to playing against mobile quarterbacks that I see them actually struggling against the Statues of Liberty quarterbacks, the ones that can read defenses and pick them apart. Those are the ones that are still left standing after all the mobile quarterbacks are out of the league. So,
yeah, that's a fair assessment there. Davis, I'm going to let you go here, brother. Appreciate you. We got Andrew coming up. Thank you so very much, man. Appreciate
thank you. Later.
What do you think about that mobile quarterback comment? I mean, Jalen Hurts is already kind of, it's one game. I know a lot of people like to blow up proportion. Do you think Jalen Hurts will make another Super Bowl run this year?
It's possible. I feel like it's tough because I'm not a Jalen Hurts pass believer. Yeah. I've never been Jalen Hurts pass believed. Like Jalen Hurts is going to kill you through the pass. Like I've never thought that. I mean, Philadelphia is extremely talented. Jalen Hurts is good. He's good. He's not bad. Like Jalen Hurts isn't poverty. These last 3 games have been tough. He is also dealing with a knee injury, so he's also very limited in what he does best.
Yeah.
You're very limited in what you do best. So it's tough, but I mean, I feel like he should have sat out the past couple games and at least healed up as much as possible to make the stretch. But it's Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is going to go out here and he's going to go compete. I mean, he does have a good mentality at the end of the day, but you're limited in the thing you do best, right?
Yeah.
So how good are you going to really be at the end of the day? So it's tough. I don't know about Super Bowl this year. I think San Fran is definitely the clear consensus favorite.
Ridiculous.
And then Baltimore, if they don't lose Mark Andrews, I said they're the favorite coming out of the AFC too, but Mark Andrews is gone.
Remember a week or 2 ago, you were like, who I would love to see? Ravens, the Ravens and San Fran. Well, the Ravens more than San Fran, but yeah, let's get to Andrew. Andrew, you're live on the Big Red Pod here on YouTube. Talk to me how you feeling about the Cardinals in this year.
Am I here? I'm here. You guys hear me?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Hey, how we doing?
Good.
I don't know, man. There's not a whole lot me and Dave disagree with. I don't know if I'm for Tune or not as much as he is, but I think we need some excitement. I think the fans need something to really get us back in the stadiums. I think we need big moves, something crazy, give this coaching staff, something to talk about. Cardinals don't even make the media no more.
Yeah.
And if we do, it's usually about
Michael Bidwell.
That's it. Yeah. Exactly. So I just want something positive, some high energy, some big change. I think we need it.
Yeah, that's fair. What do you think of the whole Kyler Murray situation? I know you chimed in here on the chat here.
I'm ready to move. I think we've seen Kyler. I think, like everybody says, he's a great talent. I just don't think it transfers to success. It hasn't. I don't know what it is. There's smarter people than me that are making the play calls and making all the decisions, but it's not working, I guess. It's just what it comes down to.
Okay. Perfect. Real quick, let me ask you this real quick before I let you go, Andrew. These next 3 game stretch that we got, you think we're gonna go? What do you think we're gonna happen? We're gonna go 0-3?
I think we're gonna get a win.
Okay.
Unfortunately, in my personal opinion,
Okay.
it's gonna give Kyler a little more hype. But at the end of the day, it's probably better for the locker room. So if we get it, I'm glad. If we don't, Drake May. That's all.
All right, brother. Appreciate you, man. Have a great
Oh my
one.
gosh.
Have a good one.
I love it, man. I love when people come in here and just kind of give different opinions. It's great. And I think that's one of the best part of the just I guess fan base just in general, man. It's wonderful to hear other people come out here and be very, very, I don't know, just they want good
Different
things for the Cardinals.
opinion. And at the end of the day, I mean, success is the one thing
That's what
that
we all want.
it's driving everybody, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're not fans of a team to watch them lose year in and year out. Like, unfortunately, we all picked the Cardinals, and we're stuck rooting for this team. And for like, I just don't have it in me to switch, right? I don't have that. Like, whatever. For some reason, I'm just like loyal to the soil. Like, I'm not able to go hop onto a different team. I'm just like stuck watching this. Like, regardless of how bad the product is, we're watching it year in and year out.
You know the crazy thing is that, well, it's not crazy, but yeah, I actually know. I've started this, not this channel, but obviously the AZ Sports Fan that I've been doing. I've been doing it for like 5 years now. I know a few people that actually have already turned, and they don't even turn. And they told me already, they were like, I'm gone. They're like, I'm not dealing with it anymore. It's just you gotta have tough skin to be a Cardinal fan, and hear me well. When you're trying to be critique of the Cardinals, it's not coming from a place of, oh, I hate the team. No, you just want them to succeed, right? At the end of the day, you want them to succeed. You want everybody here in the chat to be proud of the team. You want to go to State Farm Stadium. You don't want to get overrun by the 49ers, by the Eagles. Last year, I was a season ticket holder, and I kid you not, the 5 games that I went to and the other games I gave away just because I was working. But like those 5 games, 4 of them we were overrun. I kid you not. The Eagles, the Saints had a good appearance there. The Falcons. Who else? I'm sorry. The 49ers were a lot too. I can't think of the other ones, but I remember the Eagles very, very vividly. Man, that they were, it was brutal, bro. It was brutal.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's hard to sell the product to the people who live in Arizona if it's so bad for so many years. Like, how many people are bought into Cardinals football? Like, we're just not a football state.
Yeah,
we're super basketball driven, and even the Suns aren't good this year. And we have 2 of the top 10 players, so it's like. It just feels like Arizona sports are just like, I don't know, like cursed. Like, legitimately, we have 1 championship through 3 of our major teams. Have the Coyotes ever won anything?
No, they haven't.
So we have 4 major franchises, and the only thing we have to show for it is a World Series back in 2001, which we probably shouldn't have won.
Yeah.
But
we went to the World Series last year, so that was cool.
I mean, we went to the NBA Finals 2021, ended up losing. Super Bowl back in 2009, lost it, and then World Series last year. Man, it's just like we've gotten there. We've been up 2-0. I mean, we started coming back, right? The Cardinals in 2009 had a stretch. We had a chance in the NFC Championship against Carolina and got decimated. It's just like we have chances.
Yeah,
but we just don't have.
You just can never get it. The actual job. We can't get over.
We don't have anything to show for it.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, because I remember the Suns run that we had, right? And this year had so much hype, man. And just I watched this Portland Trailblazers game yesterday, bro, and I don't get what's happening with them, bro. I don't understand it, right? I'm already hearing people saying fire Frank Vogel already. It's to that point now. Granted, Bradley Beal has not been as healthy as we would all love him to be, but it's crazy, man. I don't want to believe in an Arizona sports curse, but it almost kind of feels like that, especially if you are a fan of every single team here. Coyotes, Diamondbacks, Suns, Cardinals, right? It feels like that. It truly does that. Like the world's against you, and it's crazy because we're such a big city. Like we're seen as a small market team, but like we're like what, top 5, top 6 biggest cities in the United States, and we're growing every single day, every single month. We're growing, and people are bringing in their culture. People are bringing in their terribleness of the Green Bay Packer flat. Like I got somebody in my neighborhood that lives in that has like a Steelers fan, and every day I want to rip it off his house, but like I'm not that guy. What I got to put my chest out about? Nothing. We haven't accomplished nothing. So
right,
it is what it is. We let it hang.
I would love to flaunt, but There ain't nothing to flaunt. That's why
Nothing to
everything
flaunt.
that Cardinals is in my bedroom.
Yeah, yeah. I agree, dude. I agree. All right, we're gonna close up shop here. Any last things that you want to talk about before we close up shop? And obviously, let everybody know, where to find us and when our next show is.
Shoot, man. If you guys want to tune in Friday, we do have a Chicago Bears YouTuber coming on, giving some insight. So if you guys want to tune into that, it'll be Friday at 10 a.m. So if you guys want to, or 12 a.m., 12, what are we doing? 10 or 12? 10 a.m. So 10 a.m. we got a Chicago YouTuber. So if you guys want to get insight on somebody else behind enemy lines, man, make sure you're tuning in Friday. But I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Absolutely. Just to kind of piggyback of what Mythic is saying here, this is our schedule moving forward for the rest of the season and the rest of the offseason as well, because obviously we're going to be covering the offseason, and that's where it's going to be really getting exciting, man. We're going to be here talking about free agency. We're talking about the draft. This is where it's going to really, really, really get cool and fun to talk about here. But we're going to be live on Mondays and Fridays at 10 a.m. And then on Wednesdays, the 12 p.m. Slot is what we're going to be looking at for. So if you want to join a next live stream and you do like to chime in, we do want to start opening up the phone lines here on Mondays to get a overreaction Mondays, either good or bad. We're going to start doing that on Monday. We're going to be better at it moving forward. I almost promise you guys. So let me get to my last contribution here. Daily life stuff. Appreciate you, man. You, Deus, and Michael, and everybody that's been donating.
Absolutely,
I thank you so very
man.
much. Appreciate you guys. He says, all I got to say is let's go McBride. Our only success on the offense this year. I agree.
You feel me? Yeah, and shout out to everyone who donated today. I mean, we got Daly, Michael, Andrew, Deus, just everybody who contributed today. Appreciate you guys. You guys mean a lot. And everyone who chimed in on phone lines today too. Appreciate you guys for hopping on, man. It was great discussions and great talk. Cardinals suck. So, I mean, we're all feeling the same way. We're all hurt inside.
Exactly. We're all just hurt. Like, can we all just chalk that up? Like, I get sometimes I say some rash things, but we're all just hurt. We're all abused people that love to get abused, apparently, because we cannot shy away from this darn team.
Right.
It is what it is. All right, Mythic. It's been a pleasure speaking to you here. Obviously, chopping it up here on the podcast. If you do want to take us on the road, we are now streaming on Apple Podcasts. Just check out Big Red Pod on Apple Podcasts and shoot us a follow, and you'll be able to take us on the road if you're working, doing whatever you're doing. You can go and follow us on there as well. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day and go Cards.